How you doing? Hey. Pay attention. We wanted to chat with you a little bit about a happy topic this morning. First of all, thank you all for being here to convey to the public what we think is very good information about the city and the way it operates. You may recall that the Wall Street Journal 24/7 reviewed the performance of the 100 largest cities in America and named Lincoln as the fourth best managed city in the entire nation. So today we're here just to talk about and demonstrate a little bit why Lincoln is worthy of that honor. Prudent management, of course, is a never-ending quest to both be more effective as well as to be more efficient, that is, to do more with less. One tactic in our management toolbox that's been critically important to preserving city services without asking for additional tax dollars or unnecessarily raising utility rates. That particular technique that we're talking about allows us to conservatively manage our debt and to live within our means as a community, and goes along with the fact that we've earned the highest ratings possible from two major national rating agencies. Our city's excellent credit allows us to take advantage of historically low interest rates and refinance outstanding bonds at lower interest rates to save millions for Lincoln taxpayers. On Monday, the City Council will consider refinancing $6.3 million in storm sewer bonds and $13.5 million in sanitary sewer revenue bonds, an action that will save taxpayers about $1.7 million in interest over the remaining life of the bonds. Just like families who take advantage of low interest rates and good credit to refinance their homes, the city's policy is to take advantage of low interest rates and our high bond ratings to save significant dollars. Without cutting services, we are able to save taxpayers millions of dollars and better hold the line on utility rates and tax rates. Since 2011, the city has refinanced about $155 million of bonds. Bonds and other debt instruments, or just bonds, other debt instruments too, yeah. Those choices have resulted in $17.5 million in current and future savings. That is $17.5 million that we're able to invest in public safety and water and wastewater and road infrastructure, parks, libraries, and neighborhoods. That's $17.5 million to help us balance future budgets, $17.5 million that takes pressure off property taxes and utility rates. Our community has accomplished a great deal over the last few years, and the bond rating agencies have taken notice. They cite Lincoln's strong economic performance and low unemployment rate, as well as the city's strong financial performance and our commitment to keeping debt at a very moderate level. There is a strong correlation between what we have accomplished as a community and this opportunity to save taxpayer dollars. Rating agencies give the highest ratings to well-managed cities. That results in the city receiving the lowest possible interest rates on its bonds. We've made the tough choices in the past to right-size the Lincoln's budget while still preserving the amenities that provide a high quality of life. As a result, we are attracting new businesses and new residents, building our tax base, and further strengthening our financial position. Our prudent budget management and strong economy has put us in an enviable position as we plan for Lincoln's future. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our finance director, who does so much good work in this area, Steve Hubka, and our financial advisor, Steve Keene of Emeritus Investment Corp. The two of them team up together to the enormous benefit of the city. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Just like to add a few things to what the mayor said. In my 33 years with the city, we've always refinanced bonds when possible. But this last few years has been a unique period because of the recession. Interest rates have remained extremely low for a long period of time. And as a result, we had a lot of bond issues that were 8, 10, 12 years old that issued in the middle of the last decade that became eligible for refinancing, and we've taken advantage of that, as the table on the back of the press release shows. There's been a number of them, and the savings varied significantly from one to the other depending on the size of the bond issue and the remaining length and so on. But these savings fall in several different areas. They fall to the general fund, the water fund, the wastewater fund, the landfill fund, the highway allocation bonds. Savings on that accrues to money available for streets. So these savings occur in a lot of different areas, but they're all very helpful and something we've built into the last two budgets, but there will be savings in future budgets as well as a result of this. So it's a long-term benefit as well as a short-term benefit to the city budget and several different budgets within the city as well. And also I'd like to point out that because the city has an excellent credit rating, it benefits the people, other governmental subdivisions. For example, we recently refunded some building commission bonds and issued some new money. The positive rating of the city benefits that. The District Energy Corp that provides thermal services to the West Haymarket benefits from the city's credit rating, and the biggest one would be the West Haymarket JPA. Also benefits primarily from the city's credit rating. So. And that's huge dollars there with the amount of debt that's outstanding for that. So it's been a real good period for us to consolidate some of these issues at low rates, and we'll continue to take any opportunities we get to do more of them. But I think we're kind of at the end of the road of the existing bond issues for the most part. But it's good news, certainly, and I think the community can be proud of the credit rating that we have.
Good morning. Scott Keene, Emeritus Investment Corp. Will be acting as underwriter for both of these refunding financings. The mayor and Steve did such a nice job summarizing all this. There's not a lot for me to add, but I will mention that the sanitary sewer revenue refunding bonds that we intend to issue will save approximately $1.1 million based on today's interest rates, and the general obligation storm sewer bonds that we plan to issue will save approximately $600,000. Between the two of them, we'll be saving about $140,000 per year. Again, that's based on today's interest rates, and interest rates have been moving around quite a bit, so we're trying to advance both of these financings as quickly as we can to take advantage of this interest rate environment. While the drop in interest rates is what's making these refundings possible, as the mayor and Steve have mentioned, much of the savings comes from the strong credit quality of the city of Lincoln. In uncertain economic times like we're in right now and where we have been for the last 4 or 5 years, investors oftentimes show an interest in investing with a flight to quality. They're chasing the best credit quality financings they can find because they've tended to lose money on a lot of their other financings. So that makes the competition for bond financings like the City of Lincoln's very, very high, and that keeps the interest rates very, very low. Mayor mentioned the AAA ratings from both Moody's and Standard & Poor's. He didn't take quite enough credit, neither would Steve, for the fact that a major part of what the credit rating agencies look at when they are evaluating the creditworthiness of a city like Lincoln is the management of that city. And it is conservative fiscal management as well as strong financial management that is required before a community can receive a AAA rating from the rating agency. So they don't take enough credit for that, but it's clearly a team effort with council and staff and everyone else involved in the community, but we as taxpayers and ratepayers benefit from that. As Steve said, we should all be proud of these AAA ratings because there are not many communities that have AAA ratings from both Moody's and Standard & Poor's, and we're all the beneficiaries of it.
Steve, thank you. Other questions?
On the chart on the back, the GEO fund refunding, the second one, what was that for? And then the other GEO refunding, it isn't the highway allocation.
That's a great question, Nancy. I'm trying to remember what the original financing was for.
For libraries and parks, most likely.
I can get it from you later. Because I also don't understand the percent of outstanding bonds in the par amount. It's a language that's foreign to poor people.
Some of the times when we've refunded bonds, we've combined issues, so it may be several individual bond issues that we combined and refinanced at the same time.
I think that was the case in that financing. I think we were refunding 3 different series of bonds. I think we had some street work in there. I think we had likely some fire stations as well as libraries, as Steve mentioned. But it's easy enough to.
And residents pay for the water and the sewer through our water sewer bill, and for solid waste through what we pay our garbage haulers?
Yes.
That's correct. Would you like me to take a whack at the percentages?
Percent on about
how that's calculated?
Sure.
We evaluate refundings based on not the savings that are received necessarily over the life of the financing, but by looking at what those savings represent in today's dollars. Because of inflation, $1 of savings that we might get 20 years from now isn't worth as much as $1 of savings that we receive right now. So it's a little unfair to talk about the savings that you might get over the life of a bond issue because they might be unfairly inflated by that inflation. So to come up with a more accurate number, we take all of those future savings and we discount them into today's dollars based on the rate of the bonds. So when you're looking at the chart that Nancy referred to, and for example, the second issue, that general obligation refunding issue that had present value savings of $2.5 million. That issue probably had savings over the life of greater than $3 million. But when we discount those into today's dollars, it becomes the smaller dollar amount of $2.5 million, because that's what it's really worth to the city right now. By convention, the municipal bond market then evaluates the value of a refunding in a relative scale by then dividing that present value savings by the outstanding par amount of bonds, those bonds that are going to go away when we do the refunding. And that's what's described here as a calculation that shows that this refunding had present value savings of approximately 11.7%. 11.7% of the outstanding bonds. I should note that the GFOA, which is the Government Finance Organization, National Financial Organization, recommends that cities target 4% level of savings for current refundings and 5% level of savings for advanced refundings, which is another type of more complex refunding. So clearly at 11.7%, we greatly exceeded the targeted minimum level of savings that justifies proceeding with a refunding. Does that make sense?
No, but that's okay.
Then I'm not a very good teacher.
Well, it takes me more time. That's fine.
Okay, you good to go?
Well, I have a question for the mayor
All right.
on a different topic.
On a different topic.
Uh-huh.
Could we do that apart and aside?
That would be fine.
Okay. Anything else on this topic? All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you both.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. Thanks for the time.
Tough topic.
The spelling of Scott's name is SCOT.